Purchase an eligible new 30 to 450 horsepower Yamaha outboard and get up to 7 years of coverage protection, plus up to $500 in dealer credit, or earn up to $700 in dealer credit on eligible 2.5 to 25 horsepower models. Fall into savings today.
Hey everybody, fishing has been fantastic around the island recently. Tune in for those reports from all that's going on. Striped bass, tog season off to a great start. Jenny's got an open boat for us. We have a ton of events coming up as well, including the Fred Golofaro South Shore Classic this weekend, taking place right here at Captree Bait and Tackle. And Captain Al Lorenzetti rounds it out with another story for us.
The ultimate fishing authority in the Northeast, the Fisherman magazine.
Today's October 23rd, 2025. Tomorrow, we're kicking off the South Shore Classic. It's the Fred Golofaro Memorial South Shore Classic, taking place here at Captree. It's from Friday through Sunday. You got to sign up by Saturday midday to be involved in it. Got a bunch of different prizes. First place striped bass, $1,000. That's the biggest catch and release fish. First place, bluefish, weighed-in fish, $1,000. Got some great surf rods from St. Croix as second place prizes as well, and other miscellaneous tackle. There's also a raffle going on as well, and you get a goodie bag for coming down to the ceremony on Sunday at 12:30. You sign up here at Captree Bait and Tackle still. Shop here at Captree. They also have a shop pool going on. It's $10 to get in, and the pot depends on how many people enter the shop pool. Hope to see you at the ceremony.
All right, let's take a look at the weather for this weekend, starting in Montauk. Friday is going to be a little bit on the bumpy side. We're going to have 2 to 4 foot waves. Come Friday night, it looks like we are going to settle down a little bit, so Saturday should be good, 2 to 3 foot. And then Sunday is probably going to be the best day, waves around 2 feet. Now, looking at the Long Island Sound, pretty much looking pretty good. We got Friday, west winds 5 to 10. Saturday, northwest 5 to 10, 1 foot or less. Sunday, north winds 5 or 10, 1 foot or less. And the bays on the South Shore, which are typically almost always fishable, unless it really blows hard east or hard west. Friday, 1 foot or less, northwest winds. Saturday, northwest winds 5 to 10, 1 foot or less. And Sunday, northwest 1 foot or less. So the weather is looking good. So we'll get out there, take advantage of this nice weather while you can. Remember, always check the latest weather before heading out on the water.
Hey, the big November issue of the Fisherman magazine has just hit newsstands and mailboxes. So let's take a look at what you can expect in this new issue.
The November glossy edition of the Fisherman magazine is out now. Jim Hutchinson has a great read on the striper tagging program and the latest data that has just been received. No bait? No problem. This article from Captain John Raguzzo has what you need to know when jigging for sea bass in the fall. On the run is the fall striper migration region by region. Matt Broderick kicks off the rod building series on creating the perfect ultralight trout rod. With all the new trolling motor technology and features of today, this brings up the question of etiquette and sportsmanship, and Captain Brett Taylor discusses both. To get all this and more, be a subscriber to the Fisherman magazine. When you subscribe, you get 12 glossy print editions, 26 digital editions to your inbox, this past weekend's reports, full access to the website, and more. As a subscriber, you can also be part of the Dreamboat Challenge and win a brand new Steiger craft powered by Yamaha, and compete for a rigged out kayak from Yak Attack. Subscribe now.
We got another open boat episode. Let's check in with Jenny.
The 9-foot rods are out, guides have been checked, your reels have been re-spooled. Waders questionably need to have a patch kit applied, but these are all signs of the fall run season. And one thing I love about the fall is just being outside, the crisp, cool air. Local summer is gone, now it's surfcaster summer season, if you could say summertime. We're gonna be bundled up really soon if you're chasing sand eels into December and January. But I wanted to share some plug bag hacks, because the average surf caster, you can picture them, you know, driving their truck on the beach. They have all of their stuff packed into the back of their truck, a mobile tackle shop. For me, I'm different. If you see me on the beach, I'm usually in like a fishing buddy's truck, but I'm personally not the one driving on the beach. You know, it's a joke, you know, hitchhikers of the Surfcaster Society, but I want to share some plug bag hacks that I have to get you guys prepped for the fall run season if you share the same similarities with me, with like, you know, not having, I have my own vehicle obviously, but I'm not driving her on the beach. She's got 4-wheel drive, but no, that's my primary. So that's why I just stick it out with my buddies that have, you know, big lifted trucks that stay off the beach. So with my plug bag, you think that when I go fishing, I would have everything in the kitchen sink in my plug bag. But the first hack is just keeping your necessities. So going into it, you can see right here, my bucktail pouch is beyond stuffed with bucktails and swim shads and jig heads, everything that I would need during the fall run season. Of course, I have my favorite bucktail, and then I have this nice chunky bucktail that I was just throwing the other day. So obviously when you have a bucktail, you want to throw this when there's peanut bunker around, or if you're on a jetty. This is a really good lure to go to. My go-to when there's peanut bunker around. I have a funny story. When I was fishing a couple fall runs ago, back when I was still in college, I had my rod on my roof rack. Something was up with my plug bag where I didn't have it in my car at that time. I think I took it out and forgot to put it back in. But I was driving home from college and I wanted to go to the beach anyway, and my rod already had a plug attached to it, but there was a peanut bunker blitz. So of course, when you have a plug that has 2 treble hooks on it, or even just 1 treble hook, the peanut bunker are gonna get smacked around and you're gonna hook a bunch of peanuts and miss fish. So I was walking on the beach, you know, just watching, because I saw a bunch of familiar trucks parked out where I was fishing. So a lot of my buddies were there. And the nicest thing happened. One of my buddies was like, here, take a bucktail, take a swim shad. And I was like, thank you so much. So now I do the same thing where, another hack, I carry multiples of the plugs or the bucktail or the jig, whatever I'm using, I carry multiples in case there's someone on the beach who is not catching or they're not using the right thing. I say, hey bud, here, try this and you'll get on fish. And it has worked. It worked for me, and it has worked for me when I've given people plugs. And you might think, oh my God, Jenny, plugs are so expensive. Like, why are you just handing them out to people? Listen, you can, if you want to, you could spend the big bucks on a custom plug. I have done that to support my friends who are builders, but realistically, during this fall run, you don't really need a lot of the fancy. Of course, you can have a couple, especially if you're on the boat, but for starters, another plug bag hack, a plug pick. Now this is just a bent piece of metal that helps you get your plugs out easier. So of course, like I was just saying, I have a lot of poppers in here, obviously still from the mullet run, but, oh look, another popper. The fun thing of having a million plugs in here. But those will be coming out. But like I said, supporting your custom plug builder buddies is the Z-Shore. This is like the one custom plug I have in my bag for the fall run. And I would use that when there's like adult size bunker around, and when I'm like, you know, waiting out on the bar and I can get into some big fish with a metal lip swimmer. Going through, when we have sand eels, a needlefish. This is a hoagie needlefish. I swapped out the hooks in the back to a single hook because this is your best bet at getting big fish on sand eels, or if you just throw an Ava jig, easy peasy. I have Ava jigs in here too, in a slot in the plug bag where it's made for like bucktails and stuff. So when you are looking at your plug bag, I always recommend guys to like go through every nook and cranny, find every space in your plug bag that you can and see what you can stuff in there. Because for my case, like I said, I travel light, but I carry multiple of the same plugs to give out to people, and I gotta find my go-to plug for the fall run season, and it is right here. Drum roll. I gotta switch out this hook. It's the Tsunami Twitch Bait. I love this. It comes in multiple sizes. I also have it in the Ozuri twitch bait. It's the same gig, it looks like a bunker. There's even a smaller size that looks like a peanut bunker, so this is a perfect lure imitation for when the adult bunker and the peanuts are around, if you can get into them without getting snagged up. Because remember what I said about the treble hook when there's peanuts around, because sometimes the peanuts can be really, really small, like $half sized, and they're ready to get snagged on a hook. So that's another big thing. And obviously what I gotta do after I go home, because I've been fishing at night secretly, and I've only been using one lure, and it's obviously not these ones because these hooks need to be replaced, but replace your hooks. So that's what I'm gonna be doing when I go home today. After filming this, I'm gonna be replacing my hooks because rusty hooks are no good. So another it's more like a tip, not like a hack, obviously, because you should be doing this, and this is a prime example of what you should not be doing, is rinsing off your plug bag, because your hooks will rust out because salt water and salt in general corrodes everything. So you don't want to have hooks breaking on fish when they haven't been taken care of. So this is a prime example of just taking the time to sit down, like I'm going to do this afternoon, and switch out some old rusty hooks so I don't get tetanus or I don't break off a fish on a rusty hook. I mean, these aren't really super duper bad, but they're bad. So taking care of your old faithful plugs is another good hack to have. And the last thing is comfort when it comes to fishing, because fall run, there's a lot of times where you're fishing day and night, nonstop. You're on 3-day benders at the hook, crushing big bass on bucktails. So there's fatigue that comes to it, obviously. Like, for example, if you're pencil popping all day, your arm is gonna hurt. But when it comes to plug bags, a nice little hack that I do is, obviously my plug bag is attached to my belt. So having it attached to my belt relieves some of that like shoulder fatigue if you just had the shoulder bag over your shoulder, because that's like, especially if you have a lot of plugs, that's weighing down on your shoulder. But having it attached to your belt relieves that fatigue. And this is a Z belt, and it's a thicker belt. So when I'm fishing all day, it has a thicker back support. So literally, like, I'll like lean back a little and crack my back, and the support from this belt helps out a lot. It's kind of like sad to say, but like a back brace if you hurt yourself. Like if you're on the job and you hurt yourself, you can wear a back brace. It's literally like this. And another hack that you can do that I don't have on this belt, but I do have when I go fly fishing on that belt, is obviously my bag is attached to my belt, but also I have my strap over my shoulder. So I have that belt support holding my plug bag, but then I also have it wrapped around my shoulder too for extra support. So that's basically like, you know, some good hacks for kicking off the fall run season, being a hitchhiking surfcaster like myself. And one other thing is always have leaders pre-tied, like I said, nook and crannies. There's literally a zipper up here and another pouch for my leader material, my clips, everything. So I have pre-tied leaders. You can even do pre-tied sand eel teaser leaders with a sand eel teaser on the top and then a clip on the bottom for your hoagie or your Ava jig. It's all prep, and now's the time to prep. And you could be like me, you could be fishing at night secretly, but the biggest thing is once they get here, oh boy, I know some guys are already been getting into fish, especially up in Long Island and of course in Massachusetts, New England, but New Jersey, where I am, buckle up, because I know once they start to show here, oh boy, it is helter-skelter, shoulder-to-shoulder fishing the beach. You gotta be down here to see it, and it's always a great time. It's always a good time to see people I know catching fish, I'm catching fish, I'm helping other people catch fish, and hopefully the hacks that I presented to you here help you if you're just the angler with a plug bag and a belt and get yourselves ready to go. And one last hack just for fun. If your buddies say they've been on fish, and if you see them in person and they're telling you face to face that they've been on fish, check their thumbs. Bass thumb is real. That's one way. If you want to be a true surf casting fisherman detective, check your buddy's thumbs to see if they have bass thumb. Then you can believe it or not if they've been on fish or not. So good luck everyone this fall run season. I can't wait to see you all out in the surf, and I can't wait to get on some fish again. So let's go.
In the famed waters of Panama awaits a fishing experience like no other. Tropic Star Lodge welcomes anglers to get in on world-famous fishing action. Plan your perfect trip today. Tropic Star Lodge, the ultimate in fishing adventures for more than 60 years.
Now let's check in with some upcoming events from around the island. Starting off, the 23rd through the 25th is the Oakdale Yacht Club Striper Cup at Oakdale Yacht Marina. Then on the 25th, a little pop-up tournament. It's the biggest Begall fishing tournament. That's at East River Park in Manhattan. It's from 9 to 1. First prize is $350. The 24th to the 26th is the Fred Galfaro Memorial South Shore Fishing Classic. Then the 31st through November 2nd is the Town of Babylon Surf Fishing Cup. And on November 1st is Toomey's Striped Bass Tournament. The weigh-in starts at 4 p.m. on November 1st, and the captain's meeting is October 30th. On November 5th is the Riverview Striped Bass Tournament, sponsored by The View in Lessings. Then on November 22nd is a Steiger Craft Boats Open House. And on November 30th, to round out our events for this week, is the Lindenhurst Fall Fishing Flea Market. For all the details on these events, visit thefisherman.com/events. Now let's move on to Captain Al Lorenzetti, who has another story for us on the days of fishing before GPS.
Anyway, Captain Al stories. I thought I would venture off a little bit differently today and talk about some old-time fishing. I'm talking about when I was a young kid. We're talking about the early 70s, 1970. My father fished with a guy named Charlie Fischette, who had like the queen of the fleet. He had a 41 Hatteras twin diesel. Boat got up and moved, but the most interesting piece of equipment he had on that boat was a Loran A, an APN 9 machine, which was military and came either off of a naval ship or a large plane, you know, a bomber or something like that. The machine probably weighed 100 pounds. It was a little over a foot wide, maybe 2.5 feet high and 2.5 feet deep. It had an oscilloscope built into the front screen, and it read Loran A. Loran is a set of time differences that are sent out. So we went from Loran A, which was primitive, to Loran C, and then that was an issue because they blocked the channel. And then now we're on GPS, which is precise. Anyway, we were fishing with Loran A. The best you could hope for with Loran A was a 1/4 mile fix. Hey, for a battleship or a bomber, what the hell's a 1/4 mile? Nothing. But if you wanted to fish wrecks, you had to be on the money. So Charlie, being a crazy fisherman my father was his good buddy, and I would fish with them a lot. In fact, he's the guy I fished with up in Gloucester, Massachusetts for giant tuna. And so anyway, in the morning, he would take a Loran reading at his house where his boat was kept and compare it to what he knows was the exact right number. And that difference he would take and read into the readings during the course of the day. So let's say we were going to go fishing. So we start heading for, let's say, the Virginia. I mean, it was a precise thing. Back then, it was like dead reckoning. You ran on compass. In fact, he had 2 compasses in boxes, very high-end compasses. I mean, they were precise. If each one would read exactly what the other one was reading. So he would run time, time and distance, and compass course. After he ran for a while, let's say halfway there, he would take the 2 compasses, put one on the transom of the boat, one on the bow of the boat, and he'd run and look at the 2 compasses and read the difference in what they were reading in terms of degrees. If they were off just a little bit, 2 degrees maybe, that was because the current set. When you were running, you think you're going straight, but you're not. The boat is actually being pushed by the current. So anyway, it was a precise thing. It was navigation at its best. So when he got to where he would go take a reading on the machine, it took like 10 minutes to get a reading. He says, all right, we're very close, another couple of miles. He'd run, drop a marker buoy, we do a grid search, And he'd look at the bottom, and near these big wrecks, there's always a washout. There's a kind of a hole. And so you didn't have to go exactly over the wreck. He would say, all right, here it is. Here's the drop off, throw another buoy, and then we'd look, and sure enough, there was a wreck. And the recorder he had was military also. We're talking a big ELAC machine. This big, that wide, with 10-inch paper. Eventually they came out with smaller, with 6-inch or 8-inch, but he had a 10-inch machine. And the needle went around. And he'd mess around, and finally, all right, we're on it. Drop the jigs. Back in those days, it was like nuts. When you went wreck fishing and you got on these wrecks, you hit the bottom and you had a fish on. It was codfish, pollock, sometimes bluefish, but I'm talking serious fish. 30, 40-pound cod. He had them up to 60 pounds. Pollock to over 40 pounds. And he loved pollock fishing. When we caught a pollock, he'd run up current with the boat, throw the anchor, and start chumming with bunker chum. He had, of course, it was a big boat. He had a freezer, break out a can of chum, break out some squid, and start chumming the water. And those pollock, which are also called Boston Blues, would come right up behind the boat, 20 feet back. I mean, we fished monofilament right to a hook, put a squid on it, feed it back, and it was like, boom. You'd hook some of these pollock when they were 20 pounds or more, they'd take you right down to the bottom, right, and fight them back up. A friend of mine, Bruce Morabito, I think he still holds the state record. I think a 45-pound pollock. But those days, it wasn't are we going to catch fish? When you got on a wreck, you decided, all right, that's enough. Does anybody need any more for friends, whatever? You packed up your stuff and you went home. You left the fish there. But it was an amazing time. And that was an amazing boat back in 1970. One of the first fiberglass boats. They didn't know what fiberglass would do. And it got up and moved, and we had some great fishing on that boat.
Let's get the latest on our contest, Dreamboat and Coastal Kayak Clash.
It's October 23rd, and we have the latest from the Dreamboat Fishing Challenge. First on deck is Daniel Solomon, a Long Island subscriber from Setauket, with a 7.69-pound blackfish weighed in at Miller Place Bait and Tackle that lands him in third place in the blackfish category. Our next blackfish on the board comes from Mark Warbalowski, another Long Island subscriber from Bayport, New York, weighed in his catch at J&J Sports, and it weighed 8.84 pounds, which places Mark in second. And our last blackfish entry comes from Johnny Lee Rouse, a New Jersey subscriber from Pine Hill, New Jersey, weighing in his 13.2 catch at Snug Harbor Marina, landing him in the #1 spot in the blackfish category. We end the week with the leaderboard looking like this. Thomas Luciano is in first place with 20 points. Second place is Rashawn Williams with 16 points. And taking third is Jeffrey Harrison with 13 points.
It was a slow and windy week in the Coastal Kayak Clash. We only had one fish hit the board, which was actually a fish that was caught a couple weeks ago, but the entry got lost in cyberspace. We finally were able to recover it. We have a 22-inch blackfish entered by David Dew, which is now good enough for third place in the blackfish category. Everything else remains the same. We've got Rotha Nong in first place with 6 points, Dustin Stevens in second place, also with 6 points, and Bob Wagner in third place with 5 total points.
And if you are participating in one of the Fisherman's contests, a Dreamboat or the Coastal Kayak Clash, fill out your forms completely, read all the rules very carefully, and that includes the length and girth measurements on your fish. Now let's move on to our Around the Map segment. We've got a lot of reports for you this week. We're going to start out on the east end of the island. Starting off, James Rainford. Personal best 44-inch bass caught past Friday. It's on an eastern South Shore beach. He said the fish bottomed out his boga, but he did get the measurement quickly. It was 44 inches. Got some assistance from his buddies Nick and Mark on that one. Nice job, James, on the personal best. RV. Fished the Montauk Sand Beach from the surf. Another personal best fish, 38 inches. This one was caught on a 1.5 ounce Shimano Colt Sniper. Said he also had a bunch of other bass of mixed sizes as well. Moving on to the south shore of the island, James Koger, 30-inch striper for the table. That's a slot right there. Said about an hour and a half after high tide on Sunday night, caught it on a Super Strike Whittle Neck swimmer in the Narrows area by Mauritius. Then Jacob checks in. He said Fire Island has been hot in the ocean with stripers. Shows off this beautiful fish right here. Michael Pearson fished on the Gillen right here at Captree. Caught this beautiful striper on a diamond jig. Mark Shearney caught this nice 45-inch striper from the central South Shore surf. That surf bite has been on fire recently. Some daytime bites going on too. Definitely suggest you get down there. I got some reports as well. I've been doing a lot of fishing this week. Been out there all night and during the day as well doing this fishing. Fire Island Inlet took the boat out a little after dark trip. Bunch of 20-pound class stripers all caught on Tsunami swim shads. That was around high tide. Got my buddy Sal out too on the action. Again, Fire Island Inlet from the boat. 30-pound striper on a Joe Baggs Block Island sand eel. Then fished the Narrows Bay. Did some surf casting in that area myself. Had this 25-pound striper on a 3/4 ounce bucktail. That was after dark. And here's another one for you on the Smith Point stretch, the open beach that is. An oversized fish. Caught this one on a Super Strike needlefish. There's been fish all over on the inside and on the outside. Moving on to the west end of the island, Mike Onfrey fished on the 18th and the 19th with his pop out of Jones. On Saturday, had 3 bass to 45 inches, trolling mojos and bunker spoons. They went down to the Rockaways for those fish. Then they fished on Sunday back-to-back, but they changed up gears a little bit. Did the blackfish in the bay that day, had 3 keepers to 20 inches. Mateo, Gabriel, and Alex also got out for their season's first keeper blackfish, all caught on the Montauk Bridge area on green crabs. Bill Mastano fished the Atlantic Beach Bridge on Wednesday. He said the only fish he caught was a pretty good one at 19.5 inches. Nice job, Bill. And we're going to move on to the north shore of the island. Alan Yee checks in again this week. He caught this blackfish on a slider rig with a half a green crab on the Brooklyn Girl out of Orient Point. Hey guys, and if you do have a notable catch, remember to email me, mbroderick@thefisherman.com. I'll try and get your photo into the weekly video fishing forecast or an upcoming issue of the magazine.
Introducing the Yak Attack Sand Rig Surf Cart, the ultimate beach hauler for serious anglers. Glide effortlessly over soft sand with wide balloon wheels and lightweight, corrosion-resistant construction that's completely customizable with options. Whether it's rods, coolers, or tackle, haul it all with ease. Built by surf fishermen and engineered by Yak Attack.
Now we're going to check in with our correspondents from around the island. And if you want to skip to a specific correspondent from a specific spot on the island, you can use the YouTube chapters feature to do so.
Thank you, Matt. Well, good morning, everybody. Greetings from Montauk. Definitely had a couple of days of wind. You know, the wind seems to kind of be kicking in here lately, so things have kind of slowed down, and it's a matter of getting out when the wind is kind of laid down. But the one good thing out here is blackfishing and sea bass is kind of red hot. There is tons of squid in the bay. The Viking and the ebb tide have been doing pretty much daily night squid trips and doing really well. So if you need to stock up on some calamari or some bait for next year, that's a good option. Offshore report, like I said, the window's kind of pretty lean. So either you're kind of crazy or you're kind of stupid, whichever. But if you can get out there, there's not much going on. Maybe we'll lay down here over the next couple weeks and we can wrap it up with some nice stretch of weather and see if the canyons will still produce. Striped bass is definitely picking up out in Montauk. We're having consistent schools come up again, but it's all based on the wind. So false albacore still around. They got scattered after that last blow, but there's still some to pick away. All right, everybody, until next week, we'll talk to you soon.
At the edge of Long Island, where the ocean meets tradition, Montauk Anglers Club can be your boat's home and your gateway to legendary fishing. Whether you're a pro or just casting your first line, this is where memories are made. Join Montauk Anglers Club, where the catch of the day is just the beginning. Or go to montaukanglersclub.com for more information.
Thanks, Matt. Hey, everyone. Well, kind of only game in town going on is the stripers. And while the surf bite isn't as consistent and epic pretty much as last year, there are still fish around. We were lucky enough to get out over the weekend, and just one of the craziest blitzing bites that I've ever seen or ever been able to fish. So was really psyched about that. You know, and there's pockets of fish that are kind of moving in and out of the inlets, up and down the beach, just not that consistent heavy bite like we had last year. Blackfish has started, and for those that got out before this kind of blow that's been going on with this really heavy west wind, it's been pretty good. Some fish from shore as well. That seems to have thinned out a little bit, but the stripers are here. We're going to see what's going to happen. Hopefully this weekend they're going to be pretty thick, but as you can see from the video, it was just unbelievable to be out there and just have overslot fish going for surface plugs for hours. So was really psyched about that, and you know, going to keep grinding away. So that's about it. Back to you, Matt. Thanks.
Well, that new moon is here. It's the one we've been talking about. So you should be seeing a definite switch on the blackfish. Phil and I have been out. Blackfishing is good. The shallow bite's still pretty tricky. You know, we're coming into a lot of porgies still. So you go through a lot of bait. The water's still warm enough that we've got porgies and sea bass in the mix. And sometimes those larger blackfish are much slower to put on the hook. So you've got to really wait it out. You've got to wait out that bite, and then you'll find it could switch over, and then all of a sudden the smaller fish become larger fish. It's very, very important. And sometimes it's hard to tell it. We know with this new moon, you might be able to see a larger swing on the tide, meaning a bigger tidal coefficient. The wind looks like it's going to be nice again for Saturday and Sunday, Friday as well. So let's take advantage of these nice seasonal temperature to get out there and have some fun. I have not seen bluefish. Bluefish have made a no-show in the back of the harbors. There's still some mix of striped bass on and off that can be caught. The kayakers are having a lot of fun, but we're seeing a lot of people going out to the North Fork right now and heading to the South Shore, trying to get on that migration of stripers. But up here right now, we're looking at blackfish is the name of the game, and then we should be starting to jig striped bass again soon. Let's see what happens with that. I'll keep you in touch as the reports come in, and so many of our great customers are out there having fun as well. Until next week, I bid you all peace and tight lines.
For more than 20 years, anglers everywhere have come to know one thing, that nothing says no to fish bites.
Hello, Matt. This has been another exciting week. The weather is just beautiful. Look at this day right here. Hardly is cloud in the sky. We did have rain last night, which is also very good. We need it. We could use more, but I have been fishing and guiding a lot. I've been guiding on this past weekend. I had Trey, and we were out at the Shinnecock. He was brand new. He bought a rod about a year and a half ago, never touched it. So he wanted to get all the basics down. And we went out, we had a great time. We caught a fish. I mean, he must have had 15, 20 fish. He was just crazy. The river is dropping a little bit. We could still use rain. All right. It's higher than it was in the summer, but lower than it should be. And then again, I took out Andrew and Keith, and we went out, we fished. They never touched the fly rod. And surprisingly, they did actually pretty good. They were actually, they were getting their casting down. And granted, you know, they're not experts yet, but you know what, they caught fish. You know, Andrew, he really liked throwing streamers. And Keith, he liked the nymphing part of that whole class. So they did both very well. They both had fish, and some really nice ones too. Surprisingly, mostly all rainbows. But there are some brook trout. I know there are brook trout there. Now, so as far as the saltwater going, I'm still hearing this is it. We're in the fall run now. You're starting to see more and more fish on the beach. More and more moving in from the east. I haven't heard too much about albacores in my area. They're still going good out in Montauk, but that could end over with another good storm. But stripers are starting to move in. and so they're getting a lot more stripers. Not hearing as much about bluefish, so we'll see how that works out. This is the fall run. It's a great time to get out there. The weather is beautiful, and it's just this great time. Now, if you like to learn how to fly fish, if you're thinking about it, well, why don't you give me a call at 516-415-7748, and I can discuss the options. We do a lot of different classes, but a guided trip with casting in the morning, perfect to start with. Till next week. Tie lines, everybody.
Hey Matt, Fire Island report. It's blackfish and striped bass and a bluefish thrown in for good luck. You know, the fish are there. All you need is good weather. This weekend coming up looks really good. And, you know, you should have some fun with it. There's striped bass, you know, from below the slot, through the slot, and way over the slot. There's a mix of different fish inside. And I think you can have fun, especially, you know, you want to start casting. Trophy tackle, I got these new Berkeley lures in. Paddle tail, this thing will work if you're 15 feet of water or less. The treble on the bottom is removable if you don't want to use it. And sparkles, paddle tail, and this tail is perforated, holes right through it. And it creates bubbles when you retrieve it through the water. So it's going to be a killer. You know, 15 feet of water or less. In the back country, I would use this, and it's going to be a real slayer. So, Fire Island, good fishing. Weather looks good for the weekend. Get out there and catch them up.
Hey guys, thanks for having us. Another great week of fishing here. The wind dropped out quite a bit to let us get out on many days. Striped bass fishing has been pretty good for some guys. Live eels have been the ticket, with some of the inshore surf guys casting some artificial soft plastics. All different lures out there that are working. We know what the hot licks are. That being said, the blackfish has also been really, really good. The talk fishing has been incredible for most guys. Lots of keepers, lots of nice sized fish. The largest we've seen this week was 9 pounds. So the green crabs have been a ticket on the jigs, or you can use the rigs, but the jigs have been on fire with the light tackle, guys. Offshore, not much to be heard. The water got really churned up there. Few big guys reported at the Hudson Canyon. Some few yellowfin and a few swordfish being caught out there. We think the water needs to settle down. Looking at some water to the eastern canyons that look like it might produce. We'll see this week as the weather lays down, which is what we need. And on another note, the striped bass management meeting will be held next week on Wednesday, October 29th. It's going to be from 9:45 to 5 p.m. No comment period, but you get to tune in if you want to listen to what's going on and how the outcome will be. Guys, tight lines. Enjoy the rest of the fall run here.
Thanks, Matt. Hey guys, Ryan here with your Western Long Island Surf Fishing Report. Tuesday's new moon definitely brought in a good class of migrating striped bass. The bite has picked up much better since last week. I had a few bass over the weekend. I finally beat the skunk. The fishing is not lights out yet. A lot of these bass are still just passing by in the beaches, making for some fast bite windows. It looks like the sand eels are pretty much settled in on the beaches. So the bass are keyed in on some smaller profiles. Needle, Swarters, and diamond jigs should do the trick. I'm looking forward to this next week of fishing. I'm really hoping that we're going to see a more consistent pick of fish. Until then, that's it for me, guys. Best of luck out there. Tight lines, and I'll catch you guys next week. Back to you, Matt.
All right, y'all, checking in from this week from Fishing Atlantic. We got quite a mixed bag, so good results after the nor'easter. Check out the hubcap. The hubcaps are still in town, so we got a nice porgy. We got a nice keeper blackfish going on right here, and we got some full run stripers going. So we got a little bit of everything, and this is our favorite time of year, of course. So yeah, right now we're using some green crabs for the blackfish. The porgies are eating up on the crab. Stripers are hitting the jigs right now, so jigs are working, and yeah, that's what you can kind of expect from here on out, y'all.
That concludes the weekly video fishing forecast for the week, folks. The fishing has been spectacular, whether it's the striped bass from the boat or from the surf. The tog bite is getting even better when the water's cooling down a little bit. Now those tog are chewing more and more. I'm hearing about more coming up recently. Now's the time to get out. Again, take it from myself. I've been getting out there, and the striped bass fishing has been great on the surf, on the boat, during the day, after dark. Really, you have a lot of opportunities right now, and really you got to take advantage of them. Also, keep in mind, this weekend, Fred Golofaro South Shore Memorial Classic, Some good prizes up for grabs, $1,000 to the top bluefish, the top striped bass, some great rods from St. Croix, other miscellaneous stuff. Hope to see you down here Sunday. I'll be here, but if you don't come down, I will see you next week.